Hello guys. This is the Orange Hokage here, and today we are doing What If Naruto Went Back in Time with Sakura Part 13. Make sure you check the description for the original creator's story, and now let's get right into the story. Are you sure we should do this, Ichimaru? Didn't Gato tell us to lie low until the ninja guarding the bridge builder are dealt with? A thug asked with uncertainty. The man, Ichimaru, laughed. I know these ninja types. They don't interfere in matters that doesn't concern them. As long as we don't try and harm the bridge builder or his family, they won't concern themselves with us. The thug nodded. If you are sure. So are we going to be taking a few bitches for not paying protection fees again? Then I suggest, we find young, fresh ones. A cheer erupted from the group of 12 thugs. Ichimaru nodded. Sure, why not? Tonight we will have a lot of fun. Hey, why don't we target Morikawa? His daughter is blossoming into a fine bud. The wife isn't unpleasant to look at as well. I'll say. Why don't we have fun in front of Morikawa and then cripple him? He was being highly uppity last time. Before Ichimaru could answer, a clapping sound resounded around the group. Ichimaru looked to the direction of the source to see a young blonde girl was leaning on a tree. The girl was wearing very revealing clothes. A short purple tank top barely hid her blossoming chest. Black hot pants showing off long, muscled legs drew lecherous looks from the thugs. That's some dark plan you have there, boys. Can I join? I am sure I can give you a time that you won't forget, even in the next life. The blonde said with an alluring smile as she beckoned the group to come closer. Ichimaru was suspicious but said, and why would we do that when we can take what you are offering with force? What's the fun in forcing? Wouldn't it be more fun with an agreeable partner? Come on, I don't bite much. The blonde said with a seductive grin as she leaned forward, showing off her cleavage. Ichimaru was skeptical, but his lecherous feelings override it. With a lecherous smile he and his men walked forward. As they surrounded the girl, Ichimaru raised his hand to touch the girl's face when he suddenly felt his body not responding to his commands. With wide eyes, Ichimaru saw the girl smirk before her blue eyes turned red with slit pupils. Two red fox ears appeared over her head as her previously blonde hair turned the color of fresh blood. 5 fluffy red foxtails appeared from behind her, a ripping sound emanating from behind her. Ichimaru felt his body jump back as the demon, as he knew no human could have fox-like traits, swing her tails and easily bisected his men. The demoness turned her full attention to Ichimaru, causing a dark pressure to suddenly affect him. As Ichimaru felt he was unable to breathe, the demoness spoke in a surprisingly heavenly voice. I would have left you all alone if you didn't go targeting innocent females. Unlike other demons and demonesses, I make it a priority to kill lecherous bastards like you. I hope you are satisfied with your life, because your afterlife will make you wish you didn't cause so much harm. I am sure Shinigami-sama will allow me to visit and torture you some more. Ichimaru suddenly felt his body return to his control right before the girl transformed into a large fox, the size of a house, and proceeded to eat him. As Ichimaru lost consciousness, the air shimmered as the halved corpses were no longer there. In their places were the unconscious thugs. All of them frothing at the mouth and had vacated their bowels, Ichimaru among them. Naruto, Ino and Fu shimmered into existence on the opposite side of the road with disgusted expressions on their faces. Naruto turned to Ino and asked, "All right Ino, what did you do?" Ino grinned and said, "Nothing much. I just applied my knowledge on my clan jutsus, Genjutsu, airbending and killing intent to make them witness the most horrifying events. They were approached by an older version of me in a revealing outfit and a body to die for. After convincing them to approach her, she suddenly turns into a kitsune-human hybrid and proceeded to kill everyone before transforming into a giant 5-tailed fox and consuming the man under the illusion. Airbending combined with killing intent made them feel like in the presence of a real demon. The kicker is that with the application of my clan techniques, I was able to convince them that what happened was real and had them suffer a heart attack. A fine way to kill trash like these, isn't it?" Naruto and Fu stared at the girl with worry, causing the blonde girl to smirk and say, You both are wondering why I haven't broken down yet from my first kill, right? Naruto and Fu nodded, causing Ino to giggle and say, I am in Yamanaka. We specialize in the mind and human psyche. I am using a clan technique to suppress my feeling of guilt and horror until I have a better place to handle the trauma. Don't worry about me, I will speak with Daddy when I return back to Konoha. At the moment I need to be ready for anything. Naruto and Fu nodded as Naruto said, I see. It is a good technique, but don't overuse it. If you need someone to talk to, I am here to listen. You don't need to return back to Konoha for support. We are friends, aren't we? Ino nodded with a slight frown but didn't say anything else. Then we better head back, but before that. Naruto punched forward, launching a wave of searing hot flames that quickly consumed the corpses of the thugs. After making sure that the flames were out, the trio turned and headed back into town. Naruto and Haku were sitting on a tree looking over Gato's HQ. They were hidden under a ceiling barrier that hid their presence. Invisible and without fear of being overheard, Haku spoke freely with Naruto nodding along. At exactly 2300 hours, the tower guards changed shift. You have 5 minutes to reach the building while dodging the ground patrols, by which time the tower guards will have been replaced. The first floor is usually filled with the off-time thugs, no more than 100. It will be easy to dodge them, as drunk as they will be. Gato has his personal office and residence on the top floor. The middle floor is patrolled by low-level Nukenin, mostly Academy rejects. The floor also houses a small portion of his liquid assets. It contains some scrolls and jeweled weapons and armor along with small mounds of gold. His public office is on this floor. Haku was about to continue when Naruto interrupted, what about the basement? To the best of my knowledge, there isn't a basement. Naruto nodded before saying, none that is apparent. I can feel weak life signatures under the mansion. See the barely visible red swirl on the courtyard, this is an Uzumaki property. Like all ninja properties, it has hidden areas. The basement will be accessible from the top floor and a hidden entrance is on the ground floor, probably through the kitchen. The kitchen and trace can be used by anyone. We will be infiltrating the basement through the kitchen by masquerading as hungry thugs. I believe that Gato is holding the kidnapped women and children there. If you are up to it, meet Sakura here and then infiltrate tonight. Haku nodded before asking, and you Naruto-sama? I have an appointment with an aunt. Naruto said with a snicker as Haku giggled in realization. As you wish Naruto-sama, but what about the Iwanin? Naruto laughed and said, I already told you, the Iwanin aren't something to worry about. I will personally take care of them. Now let's rest up for tonight. Haku looked surprised right before Naruto dispersed into a cloud of red mist. Haku took a whiff of the mist and was surprised at the smell of blood. Shaking her head, Haku vanished in a puff of smoke. Gato was sleeping on his bed when he was suddenly yanked out of it by his leg. Stunned by the sudden impact with the cold stone floor, Get took a few moments to regain his bearings before looking up at his assailant. There, standing in the moonlight was the intimidating silhouette of Naruto. His blonde hair becoming silver in the pale moonlight. His eyes glowing with a demonic red tint. Gato's breath caught in his throat when he saw the less than pleased expression on Naruto's face. Ah! Uzumaki-sama, what a nice surprise. How may I be of service? You had let me know you were coming, I would have made preparations for a great feast in your honor. Gato simpered with an insincere tone. Naruto's eyes narrowed before he spoke in a menacing, demonic tone, do you take me for a fool midget? I know what you are up to. Confess your crimes and I will be merciful. Refuse and I will make you suffer to the point even Shinigami-sama cringes at your fate. Gato shivered in fear before saying, I don't understand Uzumaki-sama? Naruto growled out, don't understand, or don't want to? Never mind, did you know that Nami is under Yuzu? By dethroning the caretaker, whom many believed to be the daimyo, you have committed treason against me. This very compound is also Uzumaki property. Do you know what happens by trespassing on royal properties? Gato whimpered right before he was lifted into the air by his throat. Swiping at his throat, Gato tried to free himself only for darkness to claim him. Right before he succumbed to the sweet call of unconsciousness, Gato heard Naruto whisper in a malicious tone, "I hope you don't mind, but I am going to have fun taking over your life." Naruto watched as Gato fell unconscious before directing the floating idiot towards the large mirror in the room. Placing a drop of blood on the right side of the mirror, Naruto stepped back as the mirror swung open. Placing Gato on the wooden platform behind the mirror, Naruto closed it before disappearing in a cloud of red mist. Getting inside the kitchen was easy for Haku and Sakura. Finding the hidden entrance to the basement was not. For nearly half an hour, the duo searched, nearly being caught thrice before finally finding it. The entrance was hidden in the pantry. Pushing a small movable piece of wood paneling, the wall on the opposite side moved away, revealing a flight of stairs heading down. Nodding to each other, Haku and Sakura dispelled their hinge and walked down the stairs. "Shut up, bitch. Stop squirming and it will be less painful," a man grunted as three other voices laughed. "No, please, let me go. I will do anything," a girl sobbed, causing Haku and Sakura's eyes to narrow in disgust. As they rounded the corner, they saw a young blue-haired girl, about their age, being manhandled by four thugs. They watched as one of the thugs teared off her tattered dress while the other three tied her hands and legs to the legs of a small table, her legs spread out, hands above her head. The men were touching her inappropriately all over her body as the girl squirmed, tears rolling down her dirt-caked face. Haku and Sakura didn't waste any time. Sakura rushed towards the two closest thugs while Haku threw two senbon at the farthest two. Unlike usual, this time the senbon struck their targets right in the middle of one eye. As the senbon were covered in futon chakra, they easily pierced through the skills of their targets and passed through their brains. At the same time, Sakura reached her targets and released her full strength on them. She struck one man in the face, causing the head to disperse into a mist of blood and tissue. The second man wasn't as lucky as her kick caught him in the lower back. Sakura expected him to be launched forward, but surprisingly, the man's body disintegrated around her leg, leaving a few inches wide hole in its wake before the man's whole body exploded in a cloud of blood and gore. Sakura stood there for a moment in shock. The girl was looking at the two kunoichi with fear, awe and hope, but was afraid to speak in fear of becoming like the men. Haku was similarly shocked until the wall behind the girl's head slid open, revealing a floating Gato and a surprised Naruto. Looking around, Naruto quickly took in the situation before unceremoniously dropping Gato on the ground. Taking off his sage cloak, Naruto swiped his hands at the metal chains holding the girl. The girl was shocked and confused when she felt the metal cuffs fell off her hands and legs right before the large sage cloak covered her body. The girl felt even more confused when a pair of strong arms wrapped the cloak around her naked body before picking her up in his arms. A soft calming voice whispered, "Everything is okay now. They won't be able to harm you again, neither will Gato. I promise it, and I never break one." The girl relaxed her shoulders before turning her head towards Naruto's chest. Clutching his vest and burying her face in his chest, the girl stared to bawl her eyes out. The crying finally shook Sakura and Haku out of their stupor. Looking down, Sakura saw herself covered in blood and gore. Grimacing at the condition of her targets, Sakura looked up and growled out, "Is the team still alive? If so, let me be the interrogator." Naruto looked at Sakura and replied with smirk, "Sure thing, just wait till the bridge is complete. I am sure the people of Nami would like a public execution. In the meantime, you can have some fun with the midget." Sakura pouted but nodded in agreement as Haku unsealed a kimono of hers. By this time the girl's sobs had stopped. With a pale face, the girl was looking at Gato. Surprisingly, the girl's eyes held no malice, only confusion. Haku took the girl from Naruto's arms before taking her into the small cell out of Naruto's line of sight with Sakura following. Naruto just shrugged to himself before picking up Gato and walking towards the hidden set of cells to the right of the corridor. Before walking into what looked like a wall, Naruto called out, "Check all the prisoners, I will place Gato in his cell," before preparing the reverse summoning seal. After Naruto had restrained Gato, he walked out of the wall with a mischievous grin. Haku glared at the blonde and asked, "Why the hell couldn't I walk through the wall?" Sakura signed before saying, "Because you don't have Uzumaki blood in you, nor have the permission seal grafted on you. The Uzumaki tends to take their privacy more seriously than others." Haku stared at the wall in shock before Naruto placed a hand on Haku's exposed neck before pushing the girl through the wall. Haku's eyes widened as she fell on while Naruto and Sakura chuckled at the ice user's expense. A light giggle caught Naruto's attention. Turning around, Naruto came face to face with the blue-haired girl. "It seems that you are doing well now?" Naruto said with a smile. The girl blushed and nodded before replying with a deep bow, "I thank you and your comrades for saving me, Uzumaki-sama. And I thank you personally for covering my dignity. Here is your haori." Naruto nodded as he took back the slightly dirty haori and added it back on. The girl bowed again before stepping back as Naruto said, "Rise, you don't have to bow. May I ask what is the name of the beautiful flower in front of me?" The girl blushed even more before stuttering out, "Suiren, no family name. I am an orphan with the ability to create crystals that look like flowing water." "That's a very rare and beautiful ability you have, as is your name. Since you're an orphan, how would you like to join Uzumaki as a member?" "Wasn't Uzumaki destroyed?" Suiren asked before her face became pale and her violet eyes opened in horror. Bowing down, Suiren said, "Please forgive me, Uzumaki-sama. I didn't mean to question you." Naruto laughed and said, "It's alright, that's a good question. Besides, I am not as stuck up like the rest of my peers." Suiren looked surprised before she nodded, "Thank you, Uzumaki-sama. As for joining, I would love to, as long as I can train to become a Kanoishi like Haku-san and Sakura-san." Naruto looked surprised but nodded with a grin, "Even better. Now why don't you show me your Shitan, this crystal creating ability of yours?" Suiren nodded as she brought her palms together and closed her eyes. Naruto watched her intently, both with his eyes and his sensory skills, and was amazed at how easily she was able to manipulate her chakra to create the small crystal lotus. After she finished, the girl blushed as she presented the jeweled flower to Naruto. "Please keep it, Uzumaki-sama, it is the most difficult work yet. It is the reason why those men kidnapped me from my former village." Naruto nodded with a smile as he took the flower and placed it in his chest. In a puff of smoke, the flower vanished, sealed into a hidden storage seal on his vest. "I thank you for the beautiful gift. I am sure with a bit of training, you would become a splendid Kanoishi." Suiren nodded with a happy smile and bowed as Sakura called out, "Naruto, we are ready to move. Is the reverse summoning seal ready? It seems that my area of expertise is now needed. I will talk to you later, Suiren-chan." Suiren nodded before bowing and walking out of Naruto's way. Seeing the girl was out of the way, Naruto knelt down and unsealed a massive scroll. Placing it on the ground, he unfurled it before calling out, "Send people here in groups of 10. I will send them to Kakashi-sensei and Zabuza." It was at this time Haku walked out of the wall. "That was a dirty trick you pulled, Naruto-sama, but I must say that Gato was shocked to see his current accommodation. Especially with the icy atmosphere that created in his cell." Naruto chuckled and said, "Glad to see that you find the humor in the situation. I was honestly expecting you to throw a couple of senbon at me." Haku giggled and said, "Unlike Zabuza-sama, I like a good laugh. Besides, you proved a point. Don't mess with Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. Stop flirting and start working." Sakura growled as she directed the first group of people to the summoning seal. Kakashi was looking at the Iwa encampment with fear. He didn't know why he decided to make the patrol rounds in this area, but it paid dividends. Stumbling onto the Iwanan, overhearing their plans and finally seeing Roshi, the Yanbi Jinchuriki, joining up with the group which continued the Gobi Jinchuriki, Han. This was a situation that was begging to blow up in their faces. He needed to alert his group right now. As Kakashi had turned and rushed away of the encampment, the only thought in his mind was that there was a high chance that very few of their group, If any would return. Hopefully, they would take down the Iwanin as well. Naruto! Kakashi exclaimed as he reached the clearing where Naruto had constructed the earthen huts for the prisoners. Naruto looked up with a frown as he was talking with some of the prisoners. Schooling his frown, Naruto turned to Kakashi and asked, "If you are here to inform me about the presence of the Iwanin, I already know." "I know you know, Naruto. I just wanted to let you know that you will have to face both the Yonbi and the Gobi Jinchuriki. You are the only one who would survive such a confrontation. Zabuza, Asuma and I along with Sakura, Fu and Haku should be able to handle the rest of the Iwanin for a time, but what about the other genin? And what would happen if Gato appears with his thugs? Don't worry so much, I can easily handle the situation. Now, stop worrying and help us create the list of people and their situation when they were abducted." Kakashi nodded with a frown but took the list from Naruto's hand and walked towards another group. "Zori, Waraji. I need you to take some men and kidnap the Tsuchikage's granddaughter. After that, then go and kidnap the bridge builder's daughter. I have a feeling we will need the hostages in the end," Gato said, causing the two men to look at each other with nervous expressions. After a moment, Zori looked back to Gato and asked, "Boss, are you sure that we should kidnap the Tsuchikage's granddaughter?" Gato frowned as he growled out, "Don't question me on this. The girl is a genin and caught unawares, she would be as dangerous as a newborn kitten." Zori and Waraji nodded before Waraji asked, "Are we still taking the men to ambush the ninja after their fight?" Gato raised an eyebrow as he said, "I don't remember changing my plan. Meet me with the hostages and make sure to tell Ichimaru to take his men to the village. I want the foolish villagers to remember that I still live." Zori and Waraji looked unsettled, causing Gato to frown and ask, "Why with the long looks? Spit out what's on your mind." Zori gulped before saying, Boss, Ichimaru and his men went to the village more than a week ago. They never returned. I went out searching for them only to find a section of the forest charred. I believe they were killed by the Konoha shinobi." Gato growled before saying, "Then forget Ichimaru, make sure to get the Tsuchikage's granddaughter and make sure that not even a single hair on her head is harmed. The Tsuchikage will have our heads if any, she even has a nosebleed." "Hi boss," the duo said as they turned and walked out of the room to follow their orders. Dazuna and the two Konoha teams were heading towards the bridge. Fu was left behind to protect Tsunami and Inari. As the group reached the bridge, they found a thick mist filling the bridge. With a bit of trepidation, Kakashi and Asuma nodded to their teams, causing Team 10 and Sasuke to nod back and get into a diamond formation around Dazuna. "Finally you lot are here. Do you know when the Iwanin are going to attack?" Zabuza asked as he approached the group with Haku trailing behind. "They are going to be here within a few moments. Why don't you have your spar with Kakashi-sensei? Just don't see Ninchu, we don't need Iwa to become alert to our capabilities." Kakashi nodded before turning to Zabuza and asked, "You ready?" "You don't know how long I have been waiting for this moment," Zabuza said with a bloodthirsty grin as he unholstered Kubiki Ribacho and got ready. Kakashi took out a kunai and laced it with Raiton Chakra. Without any visible signal, the two elite jonin leaped at each other and started a clash of punches, kicks and slashes. As the duo fought, the Iwanin reached the bridge and observed the situation. As Kitsuchi was looking around at his team, he came to a startling realization. Kurotsuchi wasn't present. With a fearful expression, Kitsuchi asked, "Where's Kurotsuchi?" The surrounding Iwanin looked around before one of them declared, "I think Namikaze must have kidnapped her." Many of the gathered ninja nodded in agreement as Kitsuchi's expression turned to alarmed before anger settled in. Han and Roshi looked out from the back and shook their hands in exasperation. How could experienced Jonin and Chunin make such an elementary mistake? Besides, from what Han had seen and shared with Roshi about Naruto's character, he wasn't someone to use blackmail. Besides, why kidnap the girl now? After personally handing the girl to them when they didn't even know of her presence. Without thinking, Kitsuchi ordered the group to attack the Konohiden without thinking of the consequences or planning a strategy. The roar of the Iwanin caught everyone's attention, causing Zabuza and Kakashi to jump apart and prepare to clash with the Iwanin. Namikaze. Return my daughter and I will make sure your death will be swift. Naruto scoffed as his blue eyes changed into golden ones. Raising his palm and making a clutching motion, the charging Iwanin suddenly stopped and dropped to their knees, clutching at their throats. Just before the Iwanin collapsed from lack of oxygen, the pressure vanished, causing them all to place their hands on the ground and take deep breaths. 4 metallic pings sounded before a wave of force pressed down the group. They all crashed into the ground, unable to move a muscle. Just stay there and you won't die. Take the time and use your brains. What reason do I have to kidnap the Tsuchikage's granddaughter? Especially since I could have done it when you didn't know she was here? Naruto growled out in annoyance. Your hatred and urge for revenge are clouding your minds. None of you even think of the other possibilities. You know, accusing a daimyo without accurate proof can get you all killed. Your own daimyo will sign the death warrant with a smile on his face. Besides, the girl could have returned to Iwa. Ever think of that possibility before jumping to conclusions? Kitsuchi's eyes widened in realization as he groaned out, he's right. We just blamed him out of our hatred for Konoha and Namikaze. I promise you that none of us has harmed the girl and neither do we plan to, that is unless she gives us a reason to by attacking us. Don't take my politeness as weakness. I have said it before and I say it again, I have no quarrel with Iwa, as a Konoha shinobi, neither do I have a quarrel with Iwa, Kumo or Kiri for the destruction of my clan. Don't let the past dictate the present. The sound of applause originated from behind the Iwa contingent, drawing everyone's attention. Roshi was smiling as he and Han were clapping at Naruto's speech. Splendid speech, Namikaze, but we were hired by Gato to kill you, the bridge builder and the other ninja with you, which unfortunately includes Zabuza and his subordinate. Nothing personal, but I would like to not have failed this mission just because I was a coward. Roshi said before he collapsed into a pile of mud. Everyone's eyes widened at the event right before Roshi jumped up from below the bridge with his fist covered in a layer of glowing lava. Naruto calmly turned as his fists were engulfed in smoky white mist. With a swipe of his fist, Naruto redirected the lava fist as steam filled the area. Both ninja jumped out of the steam with Roshi sporting a confused but impressed look. You know, I didn't think there was anyone who could flash freeze lava. You are truly something else. Naruto nodded with a grin and said, I am surprised that you didn't ask how I did it. Then I ask, how? Roshi said with a mocking grin. Naruto grinned before he tilted his head to the side as Han's armor-covered fist flew through the previous space it occupied. And in a fluid motion, Naruto grabbed Han's outstretched fist and threw him towards Roshi in an impressive show of strength. Did you forget about my sensory skills, Han? Naruto said as he punched forward, releasing a wave of golden flames at his fellow Jinchuriki. Wide-eyed, the Iwa Jinchuriki quickly used a Kawarimi to get away, only for Naruto to reappear behind them and kick them over the edge of the bridge before following them, a pale gold cloak of fiery chakra starting to form around him. The gravity around the Iwanin lessened enough for them to crawl towards the edge of the bridge and peer at the battle occurring on the waters. At the same time, Naruto's group were copying the Iwanin. Zabuza looked at the fight and asked, what the hell do you feed him? There is no way he can be this strong at this age. I am relieved that you accepted his offers, Zabuza-sama. I really don't want him as an enemy. Haku said, causing Ino and Sakura to snicker. I understand the sentiment. His first show of power and he completely destroyed a team of 6 elite Jonin and Anbu, which included Kakashi, Meidoge, Mitarashi Anko, Yui Kurenai and our best Anbu captain and the Anbu commander in one-on-team combat without even using his full power. Zabuza and Haku along with the Iwanin looked at Asuma in shock as Kakashi added, none of us were even able to touch him. Afterwards, he had even healed us. He hadn't even broken a sweat. Now that I think about it, he was able to infiltrate Anbu HQ wearing Kill Me Orange, dyed all of their uniforms and make it out alive with none the wiser. How the hell could we ignore the signs and mark him as a fool, when he could prank some of the best and deadliest killers known to the world, and then too during his early days as an academy student? Shikamaru exclaimed, hoping to get something out of Sakura. Unfortunately, the pink-haired medic just smiled enigmatically as she focused her attention to the fight. By this time, both Han and Roshi had activated their full power Bijū cloaks, causing them to look like miniature versions of the Bijū they contained. I really hope Naruto doesn't kill them accidentally. I don't think Hokage-sama would be pleased with the political fallout if such a situation. Choji said, causing the Iwana to bristle at a perceived insult. Hold your tongue, boy. Han and Roshi are more than enough to kill Namikaze. Akanoishi growled out, only for a pebble to hit her on the forehead. Oh, be quiet. He once shared the purified chakra of the Kyuubi with me. Even that small fraction showed me how immensely powerful the Bijū truly are. If he uses his full power, I doubt there would be enough left to bring back in the body bag. Sasuke said with a smirk. The Kunoichi growled and said, while this mission protects us from a political fallout, killing both Han and Roshi would be something that isn't protected by the mission. That's too bad, because the political fallout would not be on our side. It will be your side that suffers. By attacking me, you and Iwa are declaring war on the sovereign nation of Yuzu. By sending your Jinchuriki, you have doomed yourselves to hand over the Bijū to the affected party, as was written in the Hidden Village Formation Treaty signed by all the daimyo. Naruto said, causing everyone to look at him in shock before turning to the fight to witness another Naruto battling the Iwa Jinchuriki. You are wrong, Namikaze. That clause would only come in effect if you were a daimyo. The Kunoichi said, only for Kitsuchi to say, wait, your mother was Uzumaki Kushina-hime, that makes you the Yuzu daimyo. Naruto nodded with a foxy grin, causing all the Iwana to pale in realization. Naruto, are you a clone? Ino asked with confusion, only for Naruto to chuckle and reply, no. The clone is the one fighting. I really needed to check the viability of the Ketsueki Bunshin in battle. Kitsuchi asked with a strange glint in his eyes, when you caught and brought Kurotsuchi to the encampment, that was a blood clone. I can't believe it. I thought you used some kind of genjutsu. Everyone ignored Kitsuchi and turned back to the fight. The clone was now engulfed in golden flame-like chakra as he easily manipulated tons of water. Naruto ducked under a steam-enhanced kick from Han before jumping over some balls of magma before swinging his leg in an axe kick, releasing a massive wave of golden flames at the approaching Han before raising a wall of water. Jabbing into the water wall, Naruto bended small jagged pieces of ice to fly at Roshi. Roshi was hard-pressed to dodge all the ice chunks but was able to dodge or block most of the ice pieces. Taking the chance, Han growled as he was covered in a red chakra cloak which slowly grew 5 tails. Naruto had just enough warning as the now Bijū-fied Han charged at Naruto with even greater speed. Using his air-bending, Naruto jumped high into the air as the flickers of golden flame-like chakra increased. Closing his eyes, Naruto brought his fists together before punching towards Han, who had jumped at Naruto using his steam to propel him higher than usual. As Han approached, a concentrated wall of wind rushed down towards Han and causing him to crash into the water. While Han kept Naruto busy, Roshi took the chance to get into his own version 2 chakra cloak. Now with red chakra covering him and 4 thick tails swishing behind him, Roshi made some hand seals before placing his clawed hands over his mouth. Naruto felt the chakra spike. Looking at Roshi, Naruto's eyes widened in shock as a massive wave of lava flew towards him. Focusing his mind, Naruto drew in more natural energy to augment his already impressive connection to the elements. A strong golden flame-like chakra cloak formed around him. As the wave reached him, Naruto, his eyes still closed, swiped his hands to the side before he started to go through some taijutsu katas. As he moved, the lava flowed with his motions, flowed around him before rising above him in a massive wave. Han had climbed back onto the water surface near Roshi and looked up to see the old Jinchuriki look gobsmacked. Following Roshi's line of sight, Han felt his own jaw drop as Naruto directed the wave of lava to fall towards them at a rate that would prevent them from escaping. Narrowing his eyes in concentration, Han started gathering positive and negative chakra into a condensed ball in front of his face. As the ball finished forming, Han swallowed the ball before burping it back up. What the hell is Han thinking? He's going to kill us all. An Iowa shinobi shouted out in fear only for his jaw to drop as the Naruto clone grinned. The Bijūdama punched through the wall of lava, absorbing some of the lava into itself as it flew towards Naruto. As the ball of death reached Naruto, the clone raised his palms to meet the ball. The ball touched Naruto's hands as Naruto screwed up his face in concentration before pulling his hands apart. Everyone watched in shock as the black ball of chakra separated into two separated balls of white and red chakra while gaining a greenish tint. Everyone watched as the green color intensified in the balls before they completely became green. With a grin, the Naruto clone dispersed one of the balls while he absorbed the other. The golden flame-like cloak intensified as the clone was surrounded in a massive whirlwind. When the whirlwind dissipated, the clone had vanished. At the same time, both Han and Roshi had dropped out of their Bijū chakra cloak. Both looked confused before they fell on their knees and lost control of their chakra. "What did you do?" Kitsuchi asked only for Sasuke to answer. The whole area is saturated in Naruto's chakra with invisible Fuinjutsu Shiki around them. "What is the jutsu doing, Naruto?" The original chuckled, "The Fuinjutsu is meant to seal the chakra of everyone other than me and those with the counter seal in the area of effect. Now Han, Roshi. Are you going to surrender? I really don't want to kill fellow Jinchuriki." Han and Roshi looked at each other with a pained expression. They nodded to each other before saying, "We surrender." Naruto nodded as the clone phased into existence right behind the duo with kunai at their necks. Retracting the kunai, the clone placed a hand on each of the swimming ninjas' heads. With a grunt, the clone and the two Jinchuriki vanished in a puff of smoke and reappeared in the bridge, right in the middle of the Iwanan. Naruto nodded to the clone, causing it to nod back before dispersing in a cloud of red mist. "Now Iwanan, you accused me of kidnapping the girl. I answered that I or anyone with me didn't. If you pull back, I will tell you where I can sense she is. Deal?" Kitsuchi narrowed his eyes but kept his cool. He didn't need to act trashly after how the kid destroyed them, even their Jinchuriki. He was about to speak when the sound of clapping filled the bridge. "I must say, I didn't expect Iwan to be destroyed so easily. I thought that a full contingent with what your Tsuchikage said we're demons and human skin would be enough to kill the Uzumaki brat. It seems that you ninja are worthless. I should have dealt with the situation with my own men. All of you ninja cost too much to hire and give unsatisfactory results. Now I say, fight to the death if you have to, but kill the bridge builder and Uzumaki and the ninja with him, if you want this young girl unharmed." Everyone narrowed their eyes as Gato dragged a bound and gagged Kurotsuchi in front of him. "She hasn't been harmed, yet. So I better see results." All the Iwanan looked tense at the declaration while Naruto's companions looked at the midget with anger. Only Haku looked confused as she was sure the idiot was still imprisoned. Naruto looked serene but the chakra pressure around him and his red eyes were a clear giveaway that he was beyond livid. With a thin smile, Naruto said, "Even if they wanted, they can't move out of the area. Then I am sure that Tsuchikage will pay a lot for the girl. What the hell are you all standing around for? Kill them." Gato screamed to his men, causing them to roar in approval and charge forward. Before they even got 3 feet, a great cloak of chakra burst into existence around him, causing the ground around his feet to shatter. With a wave of his hand, Naruto released an invisible wave of air. Gato watched in shock as all of his men fell forward. Their heads separated from their bodies. The Iwanan watched in shock as the corpses were suddenly covered in hungry blue flames, leaving behind only ash within moments of coming into existence. Only the heads were left untouched. Gato stepped back in fear as he let go of Kurotsuchi before he found himself floating in the air, invisible hands crushing his throat. As he lost consciousness, he heard Naruto say, "Sakura, take the midget scum to the town hall." Tie him up and call a meeting in the evening. I believe Nami will love a public trial and execution of a midget. Kurotsuchi looked at Heads in shock before she felt her bindings fall apart. Quickly pulling out the gag, she ran towards the other end of the bridge before coming to a stop in front of Naruto. The girl stared at him for a moment before bowing deeply. I thank you for rescuing me, Namikaze-san, even though I am an enemy. I am also sorry for blaming your father for the death of my mother when she sacrificed herself for Han. And I am also sorry for stabbing you that day. I now understand that what you said was right. I shouldn't let actions taken in the past guide my actions in the present. It's okay. There is no need to bow. I am happy that my words have affected you so profoundly. It is up to us to end the cycle of hatred that spawns wars and revenge. You have taken the first step into breaking this horrid cycle. And for saving you, I did what need to be done as a human. Most forget that us Jinchuriki are human as well with human hearts. As for stabbing me, I would have been disappointed if you didn't. At the time, you knew I was an enemy who had captured you. I actually let you stab me to see if you had the potential to become a top-rate Kunoichi. If you waited for someone else to save you, then you don't deserve to be a Kunoichi. Kurotsuchi nodded before running to her father only for her to crash into the ground as soon as she passed the barrier. Naruto chuckled before lowering the gravity around Kurotsuchi, allowing the girl to sit up. Turning to Kitsuchi, he asked, will you leave now, or do I have to send you back to Iwine body bags? We may have a truce, but at this moment, you are enemies. Even my mercy has limits, especially since you attacked us even after I warned you. Kitsuchi nodded as the gravity vanished, allowing him and his shinobi to stand up again. Kitsuchi bowed too as the rest of his people bowed as well. After straightening up, Kitsuchi said, thank you for your mercy, Uzumaki-sama. Alright people, let's head back. The mission was a failure. Without further fanfare, the Iwanin moved out, leaving behind Roshi and Han. The duo looked at Naruto before raising their fists to Naruto. Naruto smiled and fist bumped with them for a moment before turning and walking back. Han and Roshi nodded before saying, next time we meet, you really need to tell us how you dispelled the Bijūdama so easily. Naruto looked over his shoulder and said, I am afraid that other than me, only my sensei, Gamamaru-sama will ever be able to do it, unless you wish to master true Sennin mode. Roshi looked startled but nodded while Han looked at Naruto with respect before they turned and left. Well, my fellow genin, can you all please seal those heads in this scroll? Naruto said, throwing a small scroll to undisgusted Ino. Make sure to check if any of them have. Granted they won't have bounties as high as us ninja, but still Ryo is Ryo, no matter how little. Zabuza, can you follow me? I have something to talk to you about. Kakashi-sensei, Asuma, you two head towards Gado's warehouses. I want his shipping manifest. Haku, can you please supervise the genin? Everyone nodded to his commands, but Haku asked, one thing, Naruto-sama, how did Gado escape? I thought you had a clone masquerading as him? Everyone turned to Naruto with surprised looks as Naruto chuckled, that my dear Haku was politics. I used the situation to earn a few favors from Iwa by saving Kurotsuchi, whose grandfather just happens to be the Sandaime Hokage. Shikamaru's eyes widened and said, in addition, Kurotsuchi is young and you couldn't anticipate her reactions. That's why you had her discreetly removed from the equation. Damn, I am not playing shogi with you ever. Then there is the passive benefit of making him look better in the eyes of his fellow daimyo. As far as they know, he acted honorably and decisively. So his takeover of the control of Nami from the previous steward will look better. Instead of a young inexperienced daimyo, it would seem like the decision taken by an experienced one. Less political complications that way. Asuma said with a grin. Yes, now get to work everyone. I have some stupid paperwork to do before Gado's trial. The people of Nami had gathered in the town square where a large platform of stone had been erected. Tied to a pole of rock was a gagged Gado. In front of the midget stood Naruto, Tazuna, Fu, and Zabuza. People of Nami, I come before you today to introduce to you our young daimyo. Until now, We knew that Hiro-sama and his line to be the daimyo. That was not true. I have seen the documents signed by Hiro-sama's grandfather. Hiro-sama's line were stewards for the Uzumaki clan, the head of which is our rightful daimyo. Now I give you our daimyo, Uzumaki Naruto-sama. The person personally responsible for freeing us from Gato. The crowd cheered at Tizuna's speech as Naruto walked forward, Fu and Zabuza following close behind. Naruto stood regally as he surveyed the gathered crowd. Taking a deep breath, Naruto finally spoke, I was coronated less than 3 months ago. As soon as I learned the plight of you all, the plight of my people, I took upon myself the duty to deliver you all from the illegal rule of Gato. A rule he gained by deposing my previous steward and his family. For that alone, the laws asks for his head. I am well within my rights to execute him right here, but as you all have suffered under his meticulous care, I believe that you all should have a say in his punishment. The crowd cheered before Naruto raised his hand, demanding silence. After the crowd was silenced, Naruto spoke again. So tell me, does a quick death sound alright, or should he be subjected to a more painful one? A short of painful death resounded the town square, causing Naruto to nod. As my people wish. As the daimyo of Nami, I hear you declare that Gato shall be stoned to death by the very people he oppressed. Now before that sentence is carried out, I would like to make an announcement. My wish is that Tizuna and his line takes over stewardship of Nami. Is there any objections? Naruto waited for a few moments before speaking again. As I haven't heard any nays, I now ask Tizuna, do you accept the responsibility that comes with the position? Do you pledge to serve to the best of your ability, the people of Nami and me your daimyo? Do you swear to uphold all the laws of the land and make sure that justice is done? Speak your mind. Tizuna walked forward and started taking the oaths that were required for taking up the mantle of steward of Nami. You know, Naruto looks hot up there. Stop talking. Don't you have any respect for the situation? Sakura hissed in annoyance while the others snickered. Then by the power vested in me by my being daimyo, I declare you and your line the rightful steward of Nami under the Uzumaki. A cheer filled the crowd as everyone cheered for Tizuna, who at great risk to himself, went and brought the ninja here. An action that finally freed them from Gato's tyrannical rule. Finally, I declare the building that Gato used as a HQ and as a property belonging to my clan be made into an orphanage and house for the homeless. Also, half of Gato's ill-begotten riches shall be spread to the people of Nami while the other half shall be used as public funds for the betterment of Nami. Now, those who wish to relocate to Uzunokuni, please send your applications to Tizuna who shall forward it to me. Those of you do decide to relocate, you will be offered interest-free loans to restart your lives there. Finally, my door is always open for my people. If you need my attention, contact Konoha as I am also an active shinobi of Konoha. That is all, thank you. Cheering filled the town square as Naruto stepped aside with Zabuza and Fu. Right before they left, Tizuna declared, Gato's execution shall take place tomorrow at dawn, thank you. So that's it for today guys. If you like the story and want more, so please subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Until then, take care and goodbye.